and welcome. My name is Freddie Talbot and I'm your host for the day. I'm Country Manager for CorrosionRADAR. Today marks a significant milestone as we unveil an exclusive preview of CorrosionRADAR's LR product. We're excited to share with you how CorrosionRADAR LR provides precise insights into when and where CUI occurs, ensuring accuracy and reliability in CUI monitoring. Before we dive in, let me thank all those in the audience for joining. We are excited to share the features of the new product with you today. I'm delighted to be joined by two of my esteemed colleagues, Dr. Praful Sharma and Dr. Mehrdad Silatani. Praful, please could you introduce yourself and share your role in the development of this product?
Thanks, Freddie. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of the company and excited to be here today with product launch and product preview of CorrosionRADAR LR for CUI monitoring.
Thank you, Praful. And Mehrdad, over to you, please.
Thanks, Freddie. Mehrdad Silatani. I am also excited as much as Praful, and I'm taking care of the Chief Operating Officer of the company.
Thank you, Mehrdad. Without further ado, let's dive in. Let's start with delving deeper into the challenge of CUI and its impacts on operators. In my role as country manager, I regularly speak to customers who say CUI is top of their priority list, but find it difficult to manage due to it being highly localized and highly unpredictable. Praful, could you please share some expertise on CUI and highlight the key challenges operators face in this area?
Oh, yes, thank you. And this is a very big issue in the oil and gas specifically, as well as petrochemicals industry. And let's see what CUI is. So corrosion comes in many thousands of shapes and forms. I think 70 different forms of corrosion. Corrosion is rust, and corrosion under insulation is a corrosion which is hidden under the insulation. You can't see it, but it is remaining on the outside surface of the asset. So these pictures are quite common in the field, right? And globally, it's been reported that more than 60% of pipe leaks sometimes are due to this issue of CUI. Maintenance budgets are going in because of that. There are various complicated reasons why it happens. Condensation, water ingress into the insulation, and unknown locations, unpredictable locations in a certain temperature range. And hence, this is a very difficult issue to manage. So industry is spending fortune to manage it. So big asset integrity threat.
Thanks, Praful. So what I'm hearing is CUI is a major challenge due to being very localized and unpredictable. And often CUI is finding us before we find CUI. So Praful, how can CUI monitoring technology play a role in predicting CUI more effectively?
Obviously, CUI monitoring is a big development, and we have been testing for the last few years various versions of the product, and we are launching a new version of the product today. CUI is highly localized and unpredictable, but the way it is managed on this slide, as it shows, is on the left hand side, is kind of reactive. You are relying on lagging indicators, manual processes, periodic manual judgment. So it's very labor intensive, and it's not foolproof. Accidents still happen, leakage are still happening. Now with CUI monitoring, where we are moving towards, actually globally, is towards better practice, which is predictive. Now, what is predictive? Through analytics and through sensors and monitoring, it needs to more automated risk profiling, understand the risk better, manage the risk better in a predictive way, and it leads to more safety increase and reduced cost and optimized maintenance scope. So huge opportunity using CUI monitoring.
Thanks, Praful. So essentially predictive maintenance is all about optimizing the CUI program of work to ensure the CUI scope is effective as possible. I'd like to introduce and unveil CorrosionRADAR LR. Praful, I'm going to let you spend a few minutes talking about the key features. So over to you, please.
So absolutely, CorrosionRADAR LR means long range. So it's a long range sensors, and what you see on the screen is a version of the product which we are launching today. The key components of that, which have been deployed in many different places, which we'll talk about in previous versions. The key components are sensors. So on the left hand side, you see the orange colors. Those are sensors, which corrosion and moisture sensors together, about 50 meter long for coverage, and it can be deployed in various ways, helical or straight length, depending on where we want to cover key corrosion monitoring locations. Then the data is collected by this data logger. We call it CR node. And it's a battery powered system. That's a new feature, and then it transmits data wirelessly. So moving further on, the data gets transmitted using various connectivity protocols. It uses LoRA as the longest range data transmission protocol, few kilometers can be transmitted. Also, if the wireless transmission is not allowed for some reason, then people can use data retrieval using tablet, using a Bluetooth connection. Then finally, the data is shown on the software. A dashboard, we call it Clarity. It shows risk analytics and sensors. So this is the complete end-to-end solution called CorrosionRADAR LR.
Thank you, Praful.
And then what are the new features which we're launching? Because this product have been there, CUI monitoring have been existing for the last many years now, and it's being adopted. But now we are releasing a new version, new features, which makes deployment easier. It's faster to use and easier to deploy. So what are the new features? The new features are this CR node is having a battery power. Many of our customers said electrical power is too slow to deploy because you have to have technicians. Offshore, for example, it's difficult to get all those. The second on the right hand side is you see long range, 1 kilometer, more than 1 kilometer data transmission range using LoRA protocol, and also new versions on the risk analytics dashboard, cloud and on premises. So some customers offer uses cloud, some people are on premises. Now we're releasing a new version of this, which is both agnostic, cloud and on premises. Bluetooth tablet option for data retrieval if wireless connectivity is an issue, and obviously enhancements in corrosivity rates algorithms. So if you see on the right hand side, it's a glimpse of the dashboard that is synced with latest guidelines on API 581, which is a CUI risk guideline, and improved analytics models like corrosivity rates and early detection algorithms, along with some of the machine learning advanced algorithms which we are using in the background for predictive analytics. So these are the new features of CUI monitoring, which are becoming available. Obviously, these have been tried and tested with our exclusive clients in the past few months, and we have some pre-orders for these now. But now it's open to global orders now. So, Freddie, that's new.
Thanks, Praful. Just on the corrosivity rate algorithms, can you go into a bit of detail about why that's important for our customers?
So, first of all, this is a new thing for the customers. So, obviously, corrosivity rates and corrosion sensors we have been deploying at various customer sites. But now we have enhanced the accuracies of corrosivity rate algorithms. Now, why that is important for our customers is because under the insulation, nobody knows what corrosion rates are, right? You don't, unless you do an inspection in a very, lagging indicator inspections, nobody knows what the corrosion rates of the history are. So this is the first time, this is the longest sensor we have, which gives the longest coverage, which gives corrosivity rate algorithms, which are very useful for our customers to actually predict the future trajectory of the asset threat. What we are also releasing is the latest version of the Clarity software. So your Clarity software is our risk analytics software, which shows the data of the sensors as well as localization where the problem is, as well as compiling it to a risk, CUI risk. It's not replacing RBI, but it's harmonized to RBI risk. So what are the right hand side? What we're releasing is agnostic version which works on the cloud as well as on premises. Some customers insist on premises versions because of their policies, and this shows dynamic CUI risk, not replacing RBI but similar to that based on DNV and API 581 standards. Also, it reports corrosivity rates under the insulation and moisture locations and their history and wetting cycles. It can also be connected to third-party applications, and if the data needs to be transmitted to a third-party dashboard like RBI softwares or corrosion management dashboards, this can do that. So we are announcing this today, and happy to release this in the market. Ready.
Thanks, Praful. Just so we fully understand, so essentially, CorrosionRADAR can host a dashboard on their own platform, or we can integrate third-party platforms. Is that correct?
That's right, and it's agnostic. It's both ways. If the customer don't have a dashboard of some kind, we can provide the dashboard in Clarity software, or if they have their own dashboards of some kind like RBI, then we can integrate that.
Great, thank you, Praful. Mehrdad, so bringing in you now. So how do customers access the information they need, whether they're someone sat in HQ in a corporate office, production leader, turnaround manager, or a maintenance engineer?
Yep, thank you, Freddie. I wanted to, before answering the question, Freddie, I wanted to say a big thank you. Praful touched upon it a couple of minutes ago. We have been testing this current version for a good months, or I would say over a year. And big thank you to those customers that have welcomed us and led us to gain this level of understanding of what is exactly matter to their operation. Perhaps refers to the corrosion rate or wetting cycles. So these are the information we have worked very closely with the customers to put them together and provide a complete package as a solution. Now, to your question, you mentioned different names, different roles, and that has been one of our challenges, how to tailor our output of our system and technology to different stakeholder level within the client. So starting with a, let's say, management level, engineering managers or a head of inspections, they want to see a quick snapshot at a high level, level 1, assets overview, which they have a list of their assets and they can see in a traffic light system what are the CUI risks. And if you are a different stakeholder, let's say you are in corrosion engineer, in particular, you're concerned about a certain equipment, then you can go to the level 2, which is the asset details. And in there, you would see the data on the CUI risk on that specific equipment. And if you want to go a level deeper, which we call the level 3 sensor details, you would see the analysis of a meter by meter of where the water detections and corrosion on our sensors is taking place, and also what is the risk to your asset quantified in the meter by meter.
Thank you, Mehrdad. So moving on to this goes into a bit more detail of the level 1 asset overview. So Mehrdad, I can see here we have a number of systems under and assets and vessels under monitoring. Who would this access level be aimed for?
So this is for access level for, I would say, let's say, starting from a plants manager all the way down to the head of the inspection units and the people that are concerned with the overall safety of the plant. Their job is to keep the plant running in a safe manner. So they can, in a snapshot, see how many yellow, red, or greens they have.
Thanks, Mehrdad. And then moving to level 2, am I right in my understanding this goes deeper into the analysis, so you can really drill down into the specific details?
Correct. So you started from the plant level. Let's say you have picked up one certain or a particular equipment. Let's call it a dryer. And in that particular on that particular equipment, you can see what sensors has been installed. So sensor type, what is the asset information? So we also gather in consultation with the client some historical information about their inspection history or some other observations they had, what type of coating was used on it. And then the third level, you start looking at the detections. Have you had the detections or not? And also the availability, and perhaps the most important part is that CUI probability of failure level, which POF stands for probability of failure, and which is perhaps one of the key output of our system.
Thanks, Mehrdad. The information we're using from this dashboard feeds into the decision output, and our operators and customers can go and action on the data they receive from the CorrosionRADAR dashboard.
Correct.
And finally, level 3 sensor details, Mehrdad.
So yeah, so sensor details now you have gone one level lower. So from the equipment, then you have to individual sensors. Let's say in this particular scenario, we're picking up one of the corrosion sensors. And what you will see is information in terms of a dynamic CUI risk. Is it very low, low, medium, high, very high? There's a lot of thinking and the brain power has gone behind those ratings, and Praful, if needed, can expand more of it and how many parameters have been considered in calculation of that dynamic CUI risk. Then in particular, in this case, for the corrosion sensors, what you can see on the screen, you have a corrosion risk locations and also corrosivity rate, which Praful mentioned in previous slides. And for the moisture sensor, you will see the moisture localized, where it's been detected, how many wetting cycles you had or drying cycles you had, and also the localized probability of failure due to CUI, and what is also the risk to your coating as a traffic light system. So all of this is a lot of clever algorithms behind the scene, crunching the data to present a very digestible information for you as an operator to make a decision, have a safe operation, and focus on the production.
Thanks, Mehrdad. So to summarize, essentially what we're trying to do is find when and where we need to act on the CUI, so work in a more predictive manner rather than utilising previous and traditional reactive techniques. and we can do that by pinpointing exactly where and when the moisture and CUI is on the asset.
A very, very good point. Long range covers where to look at and also when to act.
Thanks, Mehrdad. Great point. So, Mehrdad, having sort of discussed the product and the dashboard in some detail, can you just share briefly who is using the product across the world?
Yeah, we've been very, very lucky and very grateful to the worldwide footprint of our customers. So as you can see in this map, whether I go geographically, we have all the way from United States to Southeast Asia. Systems been deployed on multiple different client assets. Or if I go based on applications, we have seen applications ranging from pipelines, heat exchangers, vessels, columns, tanks, so all sorts of different applications that different clients, based on their different operating environment, may face the issue with the CUI. Some people have more issues if they're close to the sea, perhaps, or onshore or offshore.
Thanks, Mehrdad. And moving across this final slide, high-risk assets for CUI. Mehrdad, do you want to just start off talking us through this slide and how we would select the assets for applying our technology?
Yes. So this is a very good summary. So you can look at the asset selection based on two dimensions. Either you focus on a high probability of failure assets, which underneath you will look at your intermittent operations, sweating assets, that they fit into that CUI range. Or you can look at the assets that are difficult to inspect. So if you have a cold installation, you cannot open the vapor barrier, and that can be another application. Or you can look at the high consequence of failure. If you have assets that even a day shutdown or unscheduled shutdown for them can result in a lot of production loss, jetty pipelines or export pipelines, for example, or they can have a very big safety concerns. If you have a loss of containment, that can be a very dangerous situation. So really looking at the high consequence of failure or high probability of failure. And underneath of them, either on the probability side, we have seen a lot of requests on dryers, columns, de-ethanizers, cryogenic application, refrigeration, because I believe our sensors also are one of the unique capabilities is we can tailor to minus 193 degrees, and we can cope with that temperature cycle. So which makes a suite application for our technology. Or you can go a high consequence of failure, LNG, loading lines, jetty pipelines, which I mentioned.
Thank you, Mehrdad. So we're coming towards the end of today's product webinar, but I thought it'd be a good reminder just to cover off some of the key features of CorrosionRADAR LR's product. As Praful eloquently said earlier, one of the key features is having battery power. That removes the hassle of having to hook up permanent power. We have long-range transmission, so you can have multiple CorrosionRADAR nodes connected to the data logger, and then you can access from whether at site or at corporate HQ level. We also have a risk analytics dashboard, which is fed information from our corrosion and moisture sensors. And again, as worth repeating, we have developed and enhanced our corrosivity rate algorithms to really help you understand what is exactly happening under that installation. It's not just the moisture detection, it's also understanding the corrosivity, aggressive nature of what's under that environment. And then finally, we have a Bluetooth tablet option to collect the data. So a number of configurable ways to collect the data and to analyze the data. And again, our dashboard is both DNV and API 581 fed as well. That brings us to the end of our product launch webinar today. I'd like to thank everyone for joining for the unveiling of CorrosionRADAR LR. We've looked at the features that set this apart in CUI monitoring, as I said, corrosivity rate algorithms, and how CorrosionRADAR LR can help you monitor when and where CUI is taking place. And finally, a big thank you to my colleague, Dr. Praful Sharma and Dr. Mehrdad Silatani for their role in the development of the product and their interaction today. For more information, please feel free to reach out to both this email address or this website. We look forward to taking any questions. Thank you very much.